Well, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. I'm ADVMoto Magazine publisher Carl Parker, and I will be your host on tonight's adventure flight. I'm honored to be here representing one of the greatest organizations I've ever had the pleasure to work with in over a dozen years of ADV publishing, the good folks of the Backcountry Discovery Routes. I see we've got a really populated chat room today. We've rocking over 600 of you guys in here. Thank you guys very much for coming out. Are you guys excited about this new route? If you are, feel free to drop some comments in the chat. We will be checking them throughout the show. But we have a great show lined up as we debut this new exciting route that it looks like a lot of you are already looking forward to. It is the PA Wilds BDR-X BDR-X. After tonight, if you check out the link on the screen, everyone will have access to not only the video that we'll show you very shortly, but also GPS tracks, maps, and other travel resources you may find handy to make these mini BDR getaways easier and more fun than ever. Well, all right, to give you a quick rundown of tonight's entertainment, first we'll introduce the cast of the show and share a couple of our experiences of this new route created by Jack O'Connor, who is waiting in the green room with everyone else. We'll then screen the new video, but it doesn't end there. Be sure to stick around after the video, and we will answer a few of your questions about the new route from the live chat. So don't be afraid to drop some queries. But before we get started, I'd like to make a very important mention about a donation promo that's going on just tonight. For those of you that don't already know, BDR is a non-profit, community-driven organization which makes routes available for free. So if you like what the BDR is doing, please consider making a donation on the BDR website tonight. BDR factoid of the day: 75% of BDR's funding comes from individual writers like you, so every bit helps. Tonight, however, we have a really special program running. When you donate $75 or more before 12 a.m. or midnight Pacific time, you'll receive this snazzy looking limited edition long sleeve BDR-X tech tee, which, to be honest, I use these things as base layers. They're awesome as base layers. There's a direct link in the show description below the video. But now on with the program. Please, everyone, welcome some very special people in the ADV world. We've got on hand Tim James, Amelia Nunn, and Jack O'Connor. Yay! How's it going, everybody?
Hey.
Guys.
That's awesome.
That's wonderful.
Hey, Carl.
Great. It is awesome to see you guys again. I guess it's been, a couple months since we rode together. But, we're already familiar with each other, but not everyone in the chat room. We're rocking almost 900 people at the moment, but not everyone in the chat room is. So if you guys could give a brief and a loud and clear introduction of yourselves, who you are and what you do, that would be awesome.
Sure. Ladies first.
Oh boy. So my name's Amelia Nunn. I am a member of the REV'IT Women's Adventure team. I have been for a couple years now. I ride a 1090 and 350 now. And I'm located in New Jersey.
Awesome. Jack?
Hey, so I create adventure. I've been working on routes like this for a while. Pine Barrens 500, PA Wilds. We've done some stuff down in Virginia. And I ride a Husky 701. So that's what I do.
Right. And where are you based out of, Jack?
Oh, I'm out of Point Pleasant, New Jersey.
Right on, New Jersey. More Mid-Atlantic love. Tim?
Hey, good evening, everyone. So we've got 3 people from New Jersey on here.
The Joyzy crew.
Probably
Amazing.
more than just us 3, but.
Well, yeah. But my name is Tim James, and I'm with the BDR organization. I have been for 7 or 8 years. I currently serve as the creative director of the organization, and I serve as president of the board of directors. I just love the organization. I started working with them probably after the first BDR I did out back in 2013. I was just so amazed by the organization that I called and said, how could I help? And started volunteering and never stopped. So I'm super passionate about it and really happy to be here tonight and to launch this new style of route.
Yeah, this is some fantastic stuff. I mean, I was excited when I heard about it, and I think it'll be even more exciting, once we get around to playing out the video. But first, a couple questions from the cast of the video. So, right, we, are all kind of relatively new to the BDR, X routes. So, Tim, why did the BDR start these things, and how are they different from the other routes you guys have developed in the past?
Yeah, well, this is a brand new format. It's going to be the second in the series. The folks out there might know that we actually launched this type of route with the Red Desert BDR-X, which was part of the Wyoming BDR that launched this calendar year. So what's different? They're shorter. They're shorter BDRs, and they loop. And it has been requested. We listen to the community, and it's been a lot of years that people have been coming up to and say, why do the routes only go from north to south? It's like, it's a big commitment. We get to the top of a route and we got to figure out how to get back, or get back to our trucks, and so we've talked about it for years, and but the chatter kept getting louder and louder, so it was time to address it. And we had we now have enough volunteers and people in our organization that we can put some effort into it and deliver on it. So these new routes are going to be 3 to 4 days. They're going to loop, which is perfect because you can start at any point along the route. And we're going to treat them just like the big routes. We're going to have all the same resources, landing page with everything you need to plan your trip, along with an interactive map. We're not going to print a Butler map. However, we're going to do small tank bag size maps that will be PDFs up on the landing page. You can download them, stick them in your tank bag, and so that's all free, right? So that right on the website, you can download the tracks, grab the map, check out the interactive map, do all your planning, and get out there. And with this route, you've got enough time to plan it and get out there this Labor Day weekend, which would be really great. Love to see people out there this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a super flowy route,
Yeah.
and it's just a lot of fun. But we'll go more into those details later. So Jack, as this route is maybe kind of to say like your brainchild, maybe you and your team or crew or friends. What was the inspiration for this route?
So it started with the Tour Tech Rally East. We had been doing rides out of Wellsboro for a year or so, and then I met Paul at the Tour Tech Rally, and after that we brainstormed with Kevin, and then the BDR came about. So if you think of the PA Wilds as a square, the Tour Tech Rally was the south side, and then the MABDR was put together, and that became the east side. And then there was Josh Knowlton from Kissel's put together a ride called Soggy Bottom, which we rode, and it ended up being the west side. So when we're riding, I said, hey, all we got to do is connect the top of the west and east, and we got a loop. So we put that together, found the St. Mary's, Elk State Forest, the Hammersley Wild Area, and Renovo, and connected it to Wellsboro, and that's how it came together.
Awesome. So how would you compare this route to the regular full length MABDR? It's
almost the same thing. You could break the MABDR up into two main sections: the Virginia stuff and the Pennsylvania stuff. So this is just more of the Pennsylvania stuff. Same terrain, same type of area, just more.
Right on. And Sorry, Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that. I want to make it perfectly clear that Jack has donated this route to BDR. He developed this route and was running tours on it for a little while. And he called me, Jack, it had to be during COVID a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it was a couple of, yeah, just before COVID, I think.
Just before COVID, he called me and he said, I have this route, Tim, and you know, I want to gift it to the BDR. It's a loop. It's about, you know, 600 miles. I want to give it to the organization that I know will take care of it and can make it, you know, make it a great opportunity for lots of people to ride. And at the time, BDRX concept wasn't developed yet. So I said, Jack, just give me some time. Let me talk to the organization, see how we can do this. And a couple of years later, I called him back. I said, you still up for it? Can you still want to give us that route? And he did. And that's how we got it. So a big thanks to Jack for doing that, because he certainly didn't have to do that. And
Here.
Appreciate it. Because
Here.
we all know what it takes, the amount of time it takes to develop a route. It takes a lot of time and then put all the resources together. And he did that all and gave it to us in one package, right? It was, so we didn't have a lot of heavy lifting to do. We just had to organize our filming expedition and go ride it.
Very cool. So Jack, you know, I mean, everyone will see the details on this later, but there's already comments. We're now rocking almost 1,050 people in the room, and there are already comments in here, people wanting to ride this weekend, and they'll get more details like another, but you know, just to leak it out before the show, right? How many miles is it, and how many days does it take to complete?
It's about 500, and it's broken up into 4 sections. And if you want to, you know, enjoy it a little bit more, you could make 4 days. If you want to rush through it, you could do it in 3 days. But the towns that we stop in are a lot of fun. They're nice places, interesting to visit. Wellsboro is a motor-friendly town. State College has a lot going on. So it's up to you. You know, you want to do it faster or take your time, but 3 or 4 days is, you can enjoy it.
Okay, very cool. And last question for you is, you know, everybody travels a little bit differently on these things. You know, the route as it is, like as it's planned, you know, with the tracks and the mileage, it ends every day in a motel, just to kind of keep it easy, you know. But is there camping available on the route?
There is. We made some waypoints over in Wellsboro. There's a lot of options of camping and hotels and motels. In New Columbia, there's a KOA campground right down the road. State College. The Godspeed Hostel is a nice place to spend the night. They got cabins and camping. And then St. Mary's is a little limited, but in Benezet, there's a nice campground that you can use. So there's something for everybody. Like I said, you want to eat steak or nuts and berries, you can do whatever you want.
And we'll have that all listed on the website.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool, very cool. All right, and Amelia, right? It was so awesome to ride with you on this. I mean, you brought such a great color to the cast. You know, how long have you been riding, and you know what kind of got you into riding?
I have been riding. Gosh, I got my license probably 12 years ago now, a little bit more or less. But didn't really get into riding really until I started off-road riding. And that was a little DR200 that really got me into it. And so that unlocked a lot of doors for me. And I started riding ADV style and then started riding littler bikes and started racing off-road. So really sort of opened doors through the bikes that I owned.
Right on. And, you know, you're also a member of the REV'IT Women's Adventure Team. Congratulations on that. I know it's not easy, and there was a selection process. Can you tell me what is that, and you know, how does someone join?
Yeah. So the REV'IT Women's Team started about 5 years ago, and it was an open call to women who really liked to ride and wanted to get more women involved in the sport and work with REV'IT to do that. And it evolved into a team because there were so many great women out there who wanted to be a part of this. And so from that original, I think it was 4 people, Erica and I were some of the original members. And then from that, we sort of had iterations every year as people leave the team or people come on. Some people move, some people, you know, don't want to take up too much time on the team. I think myself, I'm like, what am I doing? There's plenty of women out there riding, but it's great to see all the new people joining the team and being ambassadors for the sport. And, the geographic distribution of us means that there's one in every region and you can get to know them, whether it's at a ride. I do a number of rides a year, trying to encourage women to ride these rides, whether it's a dirt bike race, or an ADV race or a BDR. Getting more women in the sport is really important. And we are the growing demographic of women, of bike owners. And I think REV'IT's really awesome that they're supporting that. They're making gear for women that fits us, and encouraging women to connect through these events. Yeah,
that's a fantastic program. And I know it's been running for how long now?
5 years. 2017 was the first year.
Wow, that's cool. And have you been in it that whole time?
Yeah, I have.
Right on, OG. So, on the trip, you were on the biggest bike, I believe, and that was a KTM 1090.
Yeah.
How did that work out? And what kind of bikes do you think are the best for this route?
How did it work out? I love that bike. I had a lot of fun. Particularly had fun when Tim and I, and you'll see this, so I won't ruin it for you guys. But when Tim and I went on a little adventure of our own, the bike really came alive. I think I always say I'm more of a little bike rider. I'm starting to take the training wheels off now and really enjoy the 1090. I just got it about a year ago, and I really enjoyed it. I think this route is accessible to any size bike, right? So it's little bike friendly, it's big bike friendly. It's really like a choose your own adventure of what kind of challenge you want to take on. If you're going to do the whole route, if you're only going to do one day of it, what kind of mood you're in, what kind of experience you have. I think all of those things go into figuring out the right bike, but it's for sure little bike friendly just as much as big bike friendly.
Yeah, awesome. Well, tell you what, I know that people are, it seems like people are eager to get in with the show, and we, again, as a reminder to everybody in the chat room, we're rocking over 1,100 now. But for everyone in the show, as a reminder again, we are going to be coming back after the film screens. It's less than 20 minutes. So we'll be coming back answering questions. Again, feel free to drop questions in the chat. We'll be monitoring them, and we will try to pick a few, and the crew will get to them right after the show rolls. Okay, so enough of the chit-chat. We're going to get on with it. On behalf of everyone at the BDR, we are proud to share with you the latest video installment, the PA Wilds BDR-X. Everyone enjoy.
BDRXs will be 2 to 4 day rides, and they loop. So it gives the riders the opportunity to jump into the track at any point, northeast, south, or west. This particular BDRX is broken into 4 sections. And each section ends in a town that has hotels and food and supplies, or there's plenty of opportunities to camp.
We're just about ready to start the PA Wilds BDRX near New Columbia. Perfect day. Sun just came out.
So BDRX can be a spur off an existing BDR, or it can be a brand new route in a state we don't even have a BDR yet. This particular one, the PA Wilds BDRX, the east side of this route is Section 8 of the MABDR. So day 1 for us was Section 8 of the MABDR, and then we headed west out into the PA Wilds. I really like Pennsylvania as a riding area. There's plenty of opportunities for off-pavement riding, where there's not that much in the neighboring states like New Jersey and New York. So I've been riding out in Pennsylvania for a very long time, and I'm glad that we're creating more and more BDR opportunities in the state.
So we're at the start of the Duncan Drivable Trail. This is an optional section. We have 3 drivable trails on the first section to make it a little bit more interesting for those that want a challenge.
Whoa! I think I'm stuck on a rock, and I've got a big one in front of me too.
Yeah, I can get rid of this one.
It's gonna hit my skid plate. There you go, man. Thank you. But we just came through the Duncan Drivable Trail, and man, it was a great little challenge. Helps you have a little bit of ground clearance, but this is a really wonderful way to get a quick sweat on at the start of your ride.
First sort of off-roadish type trail of the route. Giggled the whole way. A little rocky, a little grassy, a little off-camber, but nothing too crazy. So a really good break-in for the rest of the ride.
Day one was off to a great start until we took a turn up a drivable trail. I thought it was hardpack. It was slimy mud. I whacked the throttle a little bit too hard. The rear end stepped out and I parked it right into a tree. Good news, Touratech crash bars did their job and I didn't get hurt. Bad news, it took us about 30 to 45 minutes to MacGyver the bike back into shape so it was rideable. The BDR community had been asking for a while for more than just one route a year. Doing a full-size BDR expedition is a heavy lift for the organization. So it wasn't likely that we'd be able, at this current time, be able to pull off more than one of those a year. However, smaller routes, absolutely. And our plan is to try to roll out 1, 2, 3 a year in the coming years.
What are we doing right now?
We're gassing up for the adventure of a lifetime.
I like to ride, and I like to ride specifically off pavement because it gives me a chance to disconnect from a screen. It also gives me a challenge that keeps me in the moment.
We've got a really great cast on this filming expedition. We've got Jack O'Connor of Pine Barrens 500 fame. He was also in our BDR expedition. We've got Amelia Nunn from the REV'IT Women's Adventure Team. And we've got Carl Parker from ADVMoto Magazine.
The terrain has been a really nice mix. I mean, most of it is really just flowy gravel, and the route has been set up such that, you know, if you want to have slightly more challenging sections, you can do that too. But it's really a fantastic variety, and this is really even just day one. So, you know, we have a lot more to come.
Day 2 of the PA Wilds starts in Wellsboro, goes through to the town of Renovo, and then after that we head north again and into the Hammersley Wild area, and then over to St. Mary's.
BDR tip of the day, dealing with dust. It's going to be pretty common for you to deal with dusty road conditions. Best thing you can do is kind of back up a little bit, space it out, maximize your visibility for a safe, fun ride. Beep beep.
What's your name?
My name's Jack O'Connor.
But there's a sign behind you that says the O'Connor Trail. What's that all about?
I have no idea why they call it the O'Connor Trail, but think of me when you drive it, and that'll make me happy.
So the BDR-X concept is going to be very similar to our full-size routes. What I mean by that is we're going to offer the same resources that we do for the big routes, just smaller. So there's going to be a landing page on the website for the PA Wilds BDR-X, and you'll be able to look at the interactive map. You'll be able to download a PDF of a printable map that you can put in your tank bag. Butler Maps is going to help assist with us on creating those tank bag maps. You can also research the route, the resources, where to stay, where to camp, where to get food and supplies. It'll all be there on that landing page.
I'm Amelia Nunn. I am a member of the Women's REV'IT Adventure Team, and I'm here riding the PA Wilds BDR-X. I've ridden a couple BDRs, or at least pieces of them. So Colorado, Idaho, Utah, MA BDR, Northeast BDR. So this week's BDR is a little bit different from the other BDRs. It's a little bit more mellow, it's shorter, but it still gives you the beautiful scenery, the great roads, but it's a really good warm-up BDR. I'm riding my KTM 1090, which is actually not my normal bike. I normally ride a dirt bike. The big bike with all the gear on it is a whole nother beast.
It's nice. It's a little bit cloudy this morning. It's cool. It sprinkled a little bit overnight, so the dust is down just a little bit. But so far, we've had a little bit of pavement and a mixture of gravel, and it's looking really good.
Day 2 differs from day 1. It gets a little bit more scenic, I think. Gets a little bit more twisty-turny, a little bit more dirt. There is a really cool pavement section in the middle, and then we get back into the deep old-growth forest. So today we're starting in St. Mary's. The reason we're in St. Mary's, it's the only place in the area that has a hotel and some food. So we're heading back east to pick up the course. We head pretty much south the whole day. We end up in State College.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys the top reasons that I can think of why you would ride the PA Wilds BDR-X. Number 1, you just got a new bike and you want to get to know it and have a couple days to do that. Number 2, you don't have the total number of days it takes to do a full BDR. You only have 4 days. Number 3, you dislike your friends after 4 days and only want to spend time with them for 4 days. Number 4, the MA BDR is way too short and you want to tack on 3 extra days, 4 extra days. Perfect trip for all of those reasons.
Projects like the BDR have been extremely helpful because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of a lot of the trip planning, which can be extremely complicated, just so anyone else can have an easier time exploring the U.S. and making their dream come true.
So we're at the Elk State Forest elk viewing area. This area here used to be a strip mine, and it was reclaimed by the DCNR, turned into an elk sanctuary. And fortunately, there's no elk right now, but right time of year, this place is full of them. We're heading there now to the Elk State Forest Visitor Center, which is a world-class elk resource facility. Triple X.
BDR tip of the day, small bikes. Are small bikes good for BDR routes? Answer to that is a resounding yes. Everyone likes their own type of ride, but I always recommend a smaller bike to learn your low traction chops. There are a lot of benefits to it. One, it's easier on the consumables. It's also easier on your body. I'm riding a Himalayan. It's a 410, the smallest bike in the group. And except for areas where we're on the highway, riding 25 to 35 miles an hour on back roads is not an issue. Also convinced it's less fatiguing in the long run. So small bikes, yes. Lots of benefits, and it's even recommended, especially for routes like this BDRX out here in the PA Wilds. It's really nice, and I'm really enjoying it.
Day 4 is pretty cool. It starts in State College, goes through Rothrock State Forest, which is typical gravel, twisty roads. Then we head back into Whipple Dam State Forest, beautiful scenic. We cross over into Bald Eagle State Forest, and if my memory serves me correctly, there's a couple of drivable trails that are on the main route, then some more twisty-turny scenic stuff, and back to New Columbia.
What I really love doing is going through the old forests. I love old trees. I mean, we were riding through some of the areas with the ferns and stuff like that. That's just this thick fern undergrowth. I love the old forests.
Everybody thinks of BDRs as this ultimate adventure, and they are, especially if you do the entire thing. But you can break a BDR down into a couple day long trip, or you can do something like this, which is a shorter trip, which really gets you to experience those trails without being an insurmountable something you've planned for 6 months. It doesn't have to be the entire thing for you to stick the sticker on your bike and say you've done it. Really just get out there and try it, and you'll have fun.
What we're doing now is we're headed to the end of a hero section where we hope to catch Amelia and Tim coming through some mud puddles. So let's see how it goes.
There we go.
Dartback Hollow, which is a gnarly, swampy, rutty, wet 4 or 5 mile section that is an option maybe 10 miles from the end. So if you want to get wet and dirty, and you do, you don't have too much time left to ride with your boots full of water.
What are we heading into?
We're heading into the unknown.
Nice.
Guys, I have a really serious question.
Yeah.
Why is it black?
You don't want to know.
After the big puddle, I remember it being real bad.
From cool to good to really good to awesome.
I got wet.
Went from 2-track, disintegrated into mud 2-track for a long stretch, and then just went to a rocky uphill climb and then back into the mud to end off.
Speaking of potentially dirty and wet, I think I did both.
This is an optional section on the PA Wilds BDR-X. It's at the end of section 4, which is our final day of riding. If you're up for getting a little bit dirty, potentially wet, get out there and have some fun.
It was so good. For the record, Tim is also dirty and wet. You just can't see it. And Tim went through a puddle. He dared me to go through after him. He fell, and so I had to fall twice as bad just to make him feel better.
I would say that probably my favorite part about this was riding with everybody. and having a chance to share the experience with the crew. And I hope other people also have that opportunity and take the time to do it.
This BDR-X, the PA Wilds, is an extension of the MABDR, so it's a little bit more of what the MABDR is. To take that concept one step further, the BDR-X that's out here in PA Wilds is a great entry for the new rider, or for someone who's transitioning from, say, riding small bikes now to adventure bikes. However, like we say about all routes, research it, go to the website, learn about what you're getting yourself into, and if you're brand new to riding adventure rides, get out there and get some training. It really helps.
We're in the middle of nowhere and loving it. Well, all right. How'd you guys like that? Was it cool? We have some comments here. Great film, looks like a blast. We are right up on 1,296. We're about to break the 1,300 sound barrier out here. Just a quick reminder, we've got the donation program going on today, but, we understand not everybody necessarily can donate, especially in times like this. But if you could, please smash a like and subscribe. It's free. It really helps out the BDR. It helps with the channel. It helps this video get more visibility. Every little bit that we do individually as a collective, can add up to a whole lot, but, I don't want to go too far without, being able to mention, the fact that, this really couldn't be done, without the help of the production crew. I mean, the four of us were the cast and we really enjoyed this, but this video, wouldn't even have been made without three dudes who really worked their butts off to make this happen. Being a production man myself, we often don't understand as viewers the amount of work that it takes to create the assets for short videos, and it is literally a sweaty, dirty job that challenges you, on the bike, off the bike, behind the computer, both mentally and physically. So we want to take a minute and give some props to the crew here. Right, so first want to mention John Putch, Putchy Baby, with years of experience in Hollywood, doing everything from acting to directing. John Putch is, he not only filmed, but also directed and edited this video. His good buddy, who lives not too far from me here in Virginia, Rich Montgomery, he also helped capture an amazing amount of angles, which really fill out, what I think is, going to be one of the best BDR short videos to date. Roof, set a standard, let's do it. Many of you have seen John and Richie's BDR parody short. Was one called Somewhere on the Mabder, where I think Richie kept getting nailed by drones, which is awesome. And then there was another one where Tim himself was kind of like a hollow Obi-Wan Tim Obi, which I also loved. If you haven't checked out these videos, please do check, please search Putch Films on Vimeo, and they're all there. And then last but not least, Brian David, is the photog. He hails from Brooklyn. He captured some fantastic images of the journey, which you'll see, I'm sure, everywhere online, and also in the November issue, the upcoming issue, the print issue of ADVMoto Magazine. And you can find more of his stuff at his at Brian David Photo, and he might be online here tonight. If he is, everyone give him a shout. He's got some really awesome shots. But let's get on to some of the burning questions. Question number one that I saw was, are there any hero sections? Jack, you want to field that one?
There's a bunch of them. We actually added a couple that weren't on the original route. In Bald Eagle State Forest, there's I think it's called Penn, Road or something, but that's a new one. That's a long, rocky, drivable trail. And then you saw in the video Duncan Trail and T-Knob. So yeah, there's a bunch, mostly on the east side.
That last option was I would call it a hero section once you start hitting that mud.
Yeah, that one, that's Sharpback Hollow, right? And that's right at the end of the ride. And
I'd ridden that a couple times and didn't want to get wet.
Yeah.
I was like, let the young guys do it.
Well, we got wet enough for everyone.
Right. Are there? We have a question also from Mike. Oh, I'm sorry, Tim. Do you want to add something?
I just want to mention that those hero sections or expert sections, whatever you want to call them, are optional. They're on the tracks, but they're optional. So if you take the main route, you can avoid them, but they're a heck of a lot of fun. So get out there and try them.
Awesome. And there's a kind of a follow-up question from Mike Schaefer. It's sort of related. Are there? Where is it? Are the drivable trails comparable to the challenge sections of Section 7?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Awesome.
I think there was. Are they talking about Popatty on 7, Jack? Is that what they're talking about?
I don't think that was a real option in the Section 7. There was that other one that we rode. It looked like Africa. I forget what it was called.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to that.
Yeah, more like that one. That 2-track that goes through the. Yep. Exactly.
Okay. Awesome. There's no more questions about hero sections. Move on to the next one. And that is is there any place specifically for solo riders to meet others planning BDR trips that would want to go as a group instead of alone? That's a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question, and there's a great answer to it. So, and I would say, if you're interested in hooking up with other riders, the best way to do that is to join one of our Facebook group pages. We have one for every route, and it's a great environment to meet other riders, get real-time answers on what's going on the track at that current time. So absolutely, just search on Facebook groups the actual name of the routes. And I think that we're probably gonna at the moment, this one, since it's connected to the MABDR, you'll be able to find information on the MABDR Facebook group page about the PA Wilds.
Awesome. Okay. Next one is this one, kind of points to the versatility of the routes, but do you recommend riding on a DRZ 400 or a V-Strom 650?
Amelia?
Depends on the rider.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of day you want to have.
Yeah.
You could do it on both, and if you're on the DRZ, the options will be really achievable for you, or should be more achievable for you. But it's really choose your own adventure.
Yeah, that's it. It's really what you're comfortable on. I mean, the terrain, this route isn't overly technical. Even the hero sections aren't over the top by any means. It's very similar to the MABDR. So if you've ridden the MABDR, there's not going to be a whole lot of difference in the type of terrain. However, there's no mud. I don't recall anything as muddy as Sharpback Hollow on the Mabder.
And as somebody who constantly underestimates my ability to ride, I think this one was really approachable. Like, if you weren't going to do any of the options or the hero sections, the optional sections, it's really mellow gravel. It's a really fun, relaxing ride.
Yeah.
Good place to get used to your bike.
If it rains, that Hammersley Wild area gets a little snotty.
Yeah.
I mean, from a personal perspective, I would say that it's doable on mostly any bike, assuming that you have decent weather and other conditions.
Yeah.
Big or small, it doesn't really matter. And what I think is wonderful about the route is that, if you want something that's a little more challenging, you can do that, but you're not, but you don't have to beat yourself up on it. Most of these roads are fairly wide and they're very flowy. So, whether you're on a DRZ or a V-Strom 650, you can kind of pick your poison in the roads that you want to go on, depending on how you feel. And you're never very far from, you know, from kind of civilization in a sense. I mean, of course, that's one of the things about riding on the East Coast, but that's also why routes like this are so fantastic, because it gives us, you know, several days to kind of really get out there in the woods. Wildlife. There was a lot of wildlife that you have to be careful about. We had some wildlife encounters. Amelia, you had one that was pretty close. Could you tell us very briefly about that?
Which one? I mean, there were plenty. I got to see the whites of a deer's eyes. Did a little panic braking on my bike. We saw bears. We all saw those bears.
Yeah,
and Tim managed to crash into a tree. So he got friendly with a tree.
You had to go there. You had to go there. We were talking about animals. We were talking about the question was about animals.
Right above
the tree
that you crashed into, there was a downy woodpecker nest that I got to see. So
oh,
there you go. There you go.
Segueing into the
Amelia,
woodpecker from the tree.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was
owls and eagles. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
No, I came around a corner and there was 2 bears right in the road. And I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden they ran up the bears. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're like Spider-Man climbing up the side of the mountain. You'll never outrun one. So
yeah, you never got
they ran away.
And I saw one too as well. That may have been the same ones that ran up. You know, like if you were in the front of the group, I saw one too as well in the woods. And I think it was one of the largest black bears I've ever seen. And you know, and that includes being up in Wyoming and stuff. Yeah. And you could tell because the head is huge. Yeah. And the face is tiny.
Yeah, I saw that bear. That was a really big pair.
Yeah, that was healthy.
Shockingly large. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like if you did the route in the fall, when Jack was talking about that elk reserve, the migration, or I forget what it was called, but that would be amazing to see.
Yeah. It's mating season in October. So we did a ride there last October. And they were everywhere, you know, the ones with the antlers. And so that's this. I'm glad the movie came out this time of year because, one, the colors change in October and it was beautiful. And also the elk are out. So this is a really good time to release this thing. And everybody out there, this is a perfect time to ride it. So next couple months.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, and that kind of, you know, there was a question too about when this was filmed, right? And that can also kind of go into what are the best seasons, but you know, when was this filmed as far as the foliage and the weather? What was it like for us?
Yeah, so we did it in June, right? We did that middle of June, and it wasn't overly. It was actually we had beautiful weather for the most part. I mean, it rained a tiny bit, but you know, everything was super green at that time, right? Because it's still pretty early in the season, so it's just so lush. And some of those roads through the woods had these ferns that went on forever, right? I mean, I think Amelia did a little photo shoot in the ferns, I believe. Yeah. But it was really beautiful, just how absolutely green and brilliant it was. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was a fantastic route. And again, right on the East Coast, to have just a few day ride where you can really spend a lot of time out in this old growth woods and, you know, meeting people in the small towns. What a fantastic resource this is. And it's really only a couple hours away from a lot of places. I mean, you know, I'm in Virginia. It's only 2 or 3 hours away. You guys are in New Jersey. You can't be more than 2 or 3 hours away, right?
3.5 for me.
Yeah. It's about, I'd say, you know, from New York City, it's probably 3.5 hours, just to put some context to it.
Yeah, but that's not wild by any means.
No.
It's better than Colorado.
Yeah, it's easier to get to if you live here, unless. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there was a question for Amelia, and that was, how did you get all the mud out of your white gear? How did you get it out, Amelia? How did it go out?
Are you going to answer that honestly?
She uses wine.
No, you lay it out next to your bike. When you power wash your bike, you power wash your gear, and it comes out pretty well. That's a secret that I do.
Power washing. Mental note. Mental note. That's cool. Here's a question. Is hunting season an issue?
It hasn't been. We've been riding routes similar. This route has been in creation for about 4 or 5 years now, and we've done it in the spring and the fall, and we've never had any issues with hunters, mostly because we're on the the forest roads. You know, the hunters are in the deep forest, so we haven't had any issues.
Right on. Okay, that's good. And then a couple more just to kind of get things wrapped. Will there be other BDR-X's in the future? And then, of course, someone is asking about plans for a Southeast BDR.
I'm working on one in Virginia. The same thing, coming off the MABDR in George Washington and Jefferson National Forest. We're working on it this fall.
Jack, you're going to give us another route? Is that what you're saying?
I'm working on it.
Oh.
We already did it. We're going to pre-ride it again, and then I'll submit it, and maybe in a few years it'll come to fruition again, or hopefully sooner. Than
Yo, Virginia, count me in, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to be down there thumping around with you guys.
The answer to that question, Carl, is yes. There's a few in the works, and our plan is to do 1 or 2 a year at minimum. You know, depending on what opportunities we can, and then our resources, but that's the plan. I think, and I think they're going to be super popular.
Now, here's a question that I just made up. If someone wants to help contribute a route to you guys, you know what I mean, like to the BDR, that might be possible. Maybe send someone out to scout it, see what it's like, or whatever. Well, how would someone get in touch with you? Like with the BDR, so for this purpose.
Yep. So we have a routes manager, and well, we have a head of route development, which is Bryce Stevens. But we also have a routes manager, Michael Bilecki, and those are the two people that oversee the development of all our routes. So if you send an email to the general mailbox at BDR, which is info@bdr.com, with your ideas, it'll get passed to the right people. So if people have ideas, we'd love to see them. But that said, we have to fully vet them before we put them out to the community, right? So because the criteria to put a route together it's not just creating a really great route. There's a lot of components to it that you've mentioned, during this evening, Carl, about going through small towns and having the resources and places to camp and everything. So it's not just about having a great riding loop. It's about the whole package.
There's a secret requirement on BDR routes that you have to have an ice cream stop every day. That's
well,
kind of important.
I think we delivered on that. Did we not? Did we not?
Yeah.
Those are highlighted on the map.
I think
those are highlighted on the map.
Yeah, we even met Amelia's sprinkles to ice cream ratio, right?
I always know a good ice cream place when they're willing to put sprinkles underneath the ice cream and on top. That's like perfect.
I think we delivered.
Guys, judging by the amount of absolute VA love in the chat room, people want a VA route. So that will be awesome. There's a lot of yes Virginia 100s out there. I think that's cool.
So there was a question in there about when are we doing the Southeast route, and that is on our roadmap, and it's it's a couple of years out, but it's in development. We have a team working on it right now, a great team actually, and they're doing some hard work. So stay tuned for that, and that will be pretty great when we do that, because you'll be able to go from well, we don't know where it's going to start, but it could be down at the Gulf, could be down somewhere in Florida, but take a BDR all the way up to the Canadian border on the East Coast. That's the goal.
That would be absolutely amazing. Well, all right, guys, that's it for the questions. Tim, is there something? Do you have any points that you would like to drop here as we wrap up?
Well, first I want to thank everyone, that contributed to this. Jack, obviously, for giving us giving the community this route. That was big, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot of happy people once they get out there and ride it. Amelia, thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure to ride with you, and of course, Carl, man, you're the bomb, man. It's so great to ride with you. It's great to ride with someone who's happy all the time. It's pretty amazing, right? Always in a good mood and always has good words to say. So thanks. And of course, our production team that you called out, they did a great job. But the route is available now. The landing page just went live. So if you go to the BDR website under routes, look for BDRX routes, you'll and find the PA Wilds page. It's all there. It's all ready. Download the tracks, print the map, go plan your adventure and get out there. So it'd be cool if people get out there on Labor Day weekend. That'd be great.
Right on, right on. Also, well, all right, that's great. So I would like to thank the crew for being here tonight. Thank the cast for being here tonight. Also thank the crew who's not on screen but has made all this possible. It was a pleasure to ride with all of you guys, and I hope we have a chance to do it and share some smiles and miles in the near future. Okay, so we're gonna sign off with the cast, and you know, we'll be checking out shortly after the show. Take care, guys.
Ride BDR.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Well, all right. What an amazing adventure it's been to be, you know, on this ride, and actually this whole experience with the whole cast and crew. You know, I've worked with the folks at BDR for years, and this is the first time that I've had a chance to ride together. And from myself personally, and everyone at ADVMoto, I'd like to thank the BDR team for everything they have done over the past decade, and they still continue to do, with an incredible amount of passion, dedication, and professionalism. The economic and social impact of their collective efforts on the routes that they develop and promote are dwarfed only by how much they bring to us collectively and personally as riders and individuals. And I hope that we all appreciate that, and, you know, we find some way to give back and support this cause, because it's good for everybody. It's good for the places that we go and see and discover on these maps. We'd also like to thank our ride sponsors, REV'IT, Kissel Motorsports, and Cross Country Cycle, for their support and in sharing with this vision. Most important of all, on behalf of BDR, we'd like to thank you, the viewer, for spending time with us tonight. You know, your continued input and contributions mean the world to us, not only financially, but also as a recognition of the work that we do. Without you, none of this is possible or meaningful as we continue the mission to bring adventure, discovery, growth, and awareness to riders everywhere. We hope to meet you, all of you, out on the PA Wilds route soon. And as John Muir once said, "Into the forest I go to lose my mind and find my soul." From everybody here at BDR and ADVMoto, please remember to ride safe, ride respectfully, yield to animals, ride right, and good night.